Everybody, and welcome back to the Crypto Night Show. Your host, Superman, in the house, and I've even got almost my Superman curl on. It is pretty amazing, and why not to celebrate a massive, massive pump today? Records on stock markets, pretty crazy. President Trump, the art of the deal, and what a perfect timing pivot. Very, very clever. Hopefully, people are going to start to see his genius in this, and of course, we've been very supportive because we've been looking at exactly what he's been doing. Now, we're not inside the cabinet, so we can't get all the timing exactly perfect, but we know the overall strategy, and it is very clever. So President Trump pumps crypto and stocks, and what a day in the office, over 3,000 on the stock market, up in the indices, pretty crazy. With his 90-day pause on reciprocal tariffs, it's a big boom time, as I say, pretty amazing stuff. So absolutely outstanding from President Trump there. What a reversal in the market. What a massive pump. Bring on the altcoin season. Bring on the bull market. Really is pretty exciting. Now, we still know we're going to have a little bit of volatility here and there because obviously you're still dealing with some outliers, some of the bigger countries as well. And obviously, most notably, China out there. Of course, the trade deficit about $3 to $350 billion out of the $1.2 trillion annual deficit that the U.S. government and the United States are running, and it's been running for decades at very high levels. And so it's about time for a U-turn. It's going to be a lot of fun to get into all that. So let's get into the chat there. Say hello, and let me just jump over to Rumble. Big shout out to everybody over on Rumble there. Hope you guys enjoying the content. We're going to be kicking off with looking at Trump's views. So we're going to be playing some of his videos that he's done, his little interviews at the White House and in the Oval Office. So we're going to play that. This is first up today. Then we're going to get into all the market updates through from stocks, crypto, Pulse Chain, Titanx. We're covering it all today, and we're going to racing through. And we're also going to look at the top performers as well. So it's going to be a pretty exciting show. I hope you guys enjoy it. Mad gains all around. Mad gains all around. We got David in the house there. Good to see you, David. Big shout out to you. Early hours in the UK. Glad you can make it. Rest up, my friend. Rest up, my friend. We got Brian as well, one of our two community leaders in the house, folks. Big shout out to you, Brian. Hope you're doing well there. And Hexog there. Woohoo! Getting excited. Very excited indeed. And even two comments in today. Pretty awesome there. And a big hi from Brian also. Good to see Brennan in the house there. Donald Pump Rocket. That is true, Brennan. And man, it's we've been very supportive of it because we see the big plan. We know that it is necessary for a truly big pump in the crypto, and of course the return of greatness of America, and therefore lifting all boats, which is pretty exciting. We don't need a declining America. We need a booming America, and that is the way forward. If anyone wants a declining America, that's the wrong way. It's the wrong way. We've got to go into the pump, and we've got to rebuild America. Rebuild the ports, the ships, the buildings, the roads, the gas and the energy. We've got to do it all. It's all got to happen. And Trump's going to be the man to bring the golden age. So very exciting. And of course, America's richer as the number one consumer in the world. Then the rest of the world will be richer as well. And of course, all the stupid policies in all the other countries run by secular progressives, liberals, globalists, Marxists, and many other outfits are going to be, dampened down by the logic of truth, justice, and American way. I had to put that in. Truth, justice, and American way. All right, so pretty cool. We got Brett Trennan in the house as well. Hey, good to see you, Trennan. Hope you're doing well as well. Now, if you're over on Rumble, smash that follow button. Just do it right now. Just take a minute, smash that follow button, and of course, smash the like as well. Get into the chat. We love people that get involved. That's how we rock and roll. If you're on YouTube, smash the subscribe button. If you're watching over on X, definitely get into that as well. In fact, I need to make sure that we're streaming on X, so let me just double check that while I'm here. And let me know in the chat there how excited you are about this massive pump and this very clever maneuver by Trump. It is very smart indeed. So let me know in the chat there. It looks like we've got the stream going. I'm going to repost that. Very, very cool. So that is looking good. Now, if you haven't followed the Crypto Night Show, get into the socials in there as well. We are looking to grow. So and you guys play a big role in that. So help share the channel around and all that good stuff. Brennan says the golden age is here. It's definitely the seeds have been sown there, Brennan. The seeds have been, 100 days? 100 days. Seeds have been sown, I think. I think it's 100 days at the moment. We got It's working on Xbox, says Brian. Oh, thanks, I appreciate that. Big shout out there. Now I'm going to post the list here to to our. We've opened up a new platform on Telegram. We originally, it was called Gem Hunters, and we're definitely hunting the gems on Pulse Chain and other blockchains. But this is our alpha list. It is free, and it's been performing like a boss. So definitely check that out. We do curate it every couple of days or so, just to make sure that it's got the quality that we want in it. But man, it is a great place to join. We just hit 200 members. Amazing. And so a big thank you to all the 200 members. Big thank you for the people that have been sharing the link to it as well and joining up. And of course, also special thanks to our admins and co-founders there. Of course, is MVS doing an amazing job. Big shout out to you, man. People acknowledging that. And of course, also getting into Wookie as well, another one of our admins, and of course Meow, one of our moderators there, getting in nice. And of course, also we got Brennan and a few other people as well doing great jobs. So big shout out there. And also on Discord is humming. We've had a lot more activity lately, so get involved with Discord as well. Links in the video description. So join up today. All right, that's enough for me. Let's get into the show. And of course, let's jump over to some of the cool things that we're going to be doing. So bam, let's get into it. So we're going to be talking about the stock market, and the stock market has been amazing. So Dow Jones in nearly 3,000 point gain on Trump's tariff U-turn. Really, it's a very clever move from Trump at the right time. This timing, I think, is impressive. And of course, all the art of the deal, right? So we got the Dow Jones there. So leading into the stock market, we were down on the futures. We were down about 0.5 to 1.5% on the futures. The US 30 was definitely down over 1%, and the US 500 down as well, but 0.5%. But now it's all reversed, right? All reversed. Now the Dow Jones opened up after the futures there, and of course it went up 7.87%, almost 3,000 points here, 2,962 points to 40,608. Let's have a look in the chart here. Let's have a look on the chart over the last month here and see what that looks like. So then the Dow Jones, look at that. So we were up at 42,000 before all the drama happened, and then we came all the way down to about 37. So that's like a 5,000 point drop, almost, let's say 4,500 point drop. And now we're back up off the bottom there, 37, down at 37. What do we got? 37 or so. And we're way back up at 40 again. So very cool move there. What an amazing reversal there. Bring on maybe some big bull market there with volatility, of course, but very exciting return. Now the S&P 500 is up 9.5%. So if you thought the Dow Jones was good, the S&P 500 is up 9.5%. And remember the Dow Jones to the top 30 companies in the United States, sort of industrial companies. They got the NASDAQ there up 12.16%, 1,857 points. Unbelievable. And it back up at 17,124. And if we look at that on the last month chart, you can also see how dramatic that has been. So pretty exciting stuff there. We were up at 18,000. We're now at 17,124, but we were well low there. I'm not sure what's happening to this chart. It's not quite updated, but let me have a look at the weekly chart there. I don't know. It's not updating there, but that is where we are at the moment. So pretty crazy. The volatility index, the VIX, which was super high, right, as it plummeted 36%. Down to 33.6. US dollar almost unchanged though at 102.64. So that's pretty interesting. Let's go to the commodities. Commodities at the moment. We've got crude oil, West Texas, $62.81, up 0.75%, and Brent oil there per barrel, $65.83, up only slightly there. So oil has come down a lot, right? I mean, it was up over $71. It has come down into the low mid 60s. And thank you, President Trump. Thank President Trump there. And of course, we've got gold there is back up. So back over 3,000 at 3,100, up 0.7%. And we got silver back over $30, almost $31, $30.84, at 1.4%. So we are expecting big things from gold and silver moving forward, but that is where they are at the moment. Now, what's the big news, of course? We're going to get into that. So Trump announced a 90-day pause, excluding China. And of course, the Goldman calls recession call. So all bullish news, right? Trump said he would hike tariffs on China, but pause reciprocal tariffs for 90 days for most of the other countries who had not retaliated. So they are in alignment, right? They're in alignment. Imagine a ducks in a row. You got the big duck at the front, all the ducks all over the place, and the big duck there calls all the ducks, and the good ducks get in the line, and they waddle along that line, and then the bad ducks are outside of the line, and they get hissed at by the big duck, something like that. I don't know. That's the kind of analogy I came up with. That is kind of where we are on that one. We got Neil T shares in house here. Hey everybody, big shout out to you, Signum, and of course Tetra coming up for their launch. Their launch is coming up very soon. I mean, 11th of April, so it's probably about within 48 hours away, my guess. So big shout out there. And yeah, ready for this bull run. Have added DeFi automation. Tetra is inevitable. I love that, Neil. We're looking forward to that, and we're going to be covering that on this channel. So big shout out there. All right, so that's kind of where we are there. Based on the lack of respect that China has shown to the world's markets, I am hereby raising the tariff charge to China by the United States of America to 125%. So still specific to, country targeting, effective immediately, Trump said in social media post after raising tariffs on China to 104% overnight. China announced earlier Wednesday that it will impose 84% tariff on U.S. goods from Thursday, up from the 34% previously announced. Other notable tariffs, including 20% duty on the European Union, 24% on Japan, 46% on Vietnam, 25% on South Korea, and 32% on Taiwan. Some of the biggest countries in the world, right? European Union, of course, trying to make an alliance to stand up to Trump, but also conceding at the same time. Japan, of course, 24%. And, of course, we've got Vietnam there as well. So South Korea and Taiwan. So some massive, massive countries economically, right? So they're still being brought in line to some degree. But however, more than 75 countries have contacted the United States seeking reprieve from tariffs. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, he's the man kind of leading this, along with a couple of other key people, said on Monday during the 90-day interim, the U.S. is expected to negotiation trade deals on a country-by-country basis. And Scott Bessent was telling people, negotiate, don't retaliate, but negotiate. And of course, Trump put the pressure on, right? The pressure on there to do that. Now, the willingness of more than 75 countries to come and negotiate everything they saw last Wednesday was a ceiling, and now we have a 10% temporary floor. Now, remember, when the stock markets are crashing, all the wealth funds are crashing, and of course, all the retirement assets are crashing. So everything else looks like that in the short term. That puts a lot of pressure on governments around the world, in addition to all the tariffs and economic implications. And so, that really is the art of the deal: create chaos, create pressure, and then get people to respond, especially when you're holding most of the cards. The reprieve on tariffs encouraged Goldman Sachs to cool its call on the recession that's been talking about, reverting to its prior forecast of 45% chance of recession amid economic growth of about 0.5%. Now, it has been, of course, talking about up to 60%, so it's come back quite a bit there. Now, traders are buying the dip in tech also following the tariff reprieve. Tech sector led the broader market as investors bought the dip in tech and amid easing worries of tariffs, as well as improved sentiment on the AI trade. And so you see a lot of those stocks there, like NVIDIA, absolutely moving up higher there. So pretty exciting. Now, that is some of the cool stuff there from the economic and stock market news. So I hope you guys got up to date with that. But let's deep dive into some of actually Trump's comments about this. So this is just out only a few hours ago. So we're going to check this out. And this is the first one here. This is Trump with the sports team, racing team, I should say. And he talked about the tariffs here.
Yeah. You started the morning saying be cool. And just a few hours later, there was a pause put in on the tariffs. Can you walk us through your thinking about why you decided to put a 90-day pause?
Well, I thought that people were jumping a little bit out of line. They were getting yippy, They were getting a little bit yippy, a little bit afraid, unlike these champions, because we have a big job to do. No other president would have done what I did. No other president. I know the presidents. They wouldn't have done it. And it had to be done. What was happening to us on trade, not only with, if you look at it, not only with China, but China was by far the biggest abuser in history, and others also, but somebody had to do it. They had to stop because it was not sustainable. Last year, China made $1 trillion off trade with the United States. That's not right. And now I've reversed it. It's for a short period of time, but we made $2 billion. We're making now $2 billion a day. And somebody had to do it. Roger actually said it. Charles Schwab was here a little while ago, one of the great financial people, and he said, He's been waiting for 40 years for somebody to do what I did over the last month. And if you didn't do it, you wouldn't have a...
That's just interrupting that, because that's really important, is that a lot of people who were on the right side of the mine knew that this had to be done, and it been complaining about these deficits and just the imbalances, and the world had moved on from like the post-war boom, where America obviously was champion, moved on from the 1980s with Reagan, and things have changed. So things need to change, but the America was still biting the dust, and it was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So the deficits were getting bigger, and of course the debt's getting bigger, and the ownership of America by foreign powers was getting bigger. So it had to happen at some stage. So, but there are very few voices left to call for that, and no one to do it until Trump came along. So really big point there.
Wouldn't be sustainable. So I'm honored to have done it. And, look, nothing's over yet, but we have a tremendous amount of spirit from other countries, including China. China wants to make a deal. They just don't know how quite to go about it. It's one of those things they don't know how quite. They're proud people.
So this is what a point I made yesterday, was that, China boxed itself in because it's got to look, strong and all the rest of it. And so it's a very tricky situation to put themselves in. But they'll be working behind the scenes trying to get this eased off in some way. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see where this heads, because not only is it to deal with China, but also moving purchasing to other countries like Southeast Asian countries, which actually have lower wages as well now in many cases, and also the fact that all the other countries have been pulled in and brought in line. This now makes a more difficult playing field globally. Especially with like the Belt Road project and things in Africa and other places around the world. There's a lot of different dynamics happening. And of course, that's probably a big deal there for China to try and, come to the table in some form, maybe not so much publicly, but behind the scenes, kind of moving into position where they can have a win-win for themselves.
And President Xi's a proud man. I know him very well. And they don't know quite how to go about it, but they'll figure it out. They're in the process of figuring it out, but they want to make a deal. And we have many other countries, as you know, many more than 75, and they all want to come, and they want to come here, or they'll go to Commerce, or they'll go to Treasury. We have our great senators here and congressmen. They'll call John, they'll do somebody, they'll go through somebody, but they're all calling, how do we do this? They all want to make a deal. Somebody had to do what we did, and I did a 90-day pause for the people that didn't retaliate, because I told them, if you retaliate, we're going to double it. And that's what I did with China, because they did retaliate. So we'll see how it all works out. I think it's going to work out amazing. I think that our country is going to be at the end of a year or shorter, but I think we're going to have something that nobody would have dreamt possible. A man like Roger Penske, I don't want to get him in trouble with China, so I won't, but he would know that someday you have to cut the bow, and you have to do what you have to do, right, Roger? And that's what I did, and I'm very happy to have done it.
All right, so that was the first clip there from President Trump, and a really big deal there for that. So yeah, covering all the key bases there, and what a master move! What a master move! So pretty exciting stuff there.
There's a lot of winning out there, and we're having a good day in the stock market, as you can see, an all-time record day, and hopefully it continues. I think it should. Our country's stronger than it's ever been.
So this is the Oval Office. This happens just after Trump was with the race car champions, and of course he's also got a lot of his key cabinet members in there as well, and he's signed a number of key executive orders at this meeting as well. But this is a little bit later on after the signing of the executive orders. Responding to the the stock market and of course the tariff questions.
And somebody had to do that we had to take the medicine. We had to go through the operation, and that's what we've been through. And
I absolutely love this analogy of the operation. I just think it's so good. That is so good. A very good idea. If he thought of it or somebody else in his team thought of it, it was very good a move.
Presidents would not have done it. No president would have done it, I think. But it had to be done, and I just want to thank my team, this team here, and lots of others, and Scott and Howard have been incredible. And for energy, there's nobody like this man. And for the roads and highways, boy, you've done well, Sean. So we appreciate it. Very much appreciate it.
Now, if you notice something in the Oval Office now, it's about winning. It's all about winning. It's about champions. He's got super smart people in his team. He's got they've got the right direction. He's got symbols of winning. He's got the soccer, awesome soccer trophy there. He's got the Gulf of America on the other side. I mean, this is just win, win, win. Pretty exciting. So really cool stuff coming from Trump. There's the final clip here. So once we got through him talking about the tariffs again, we ended up getting to the questions from reporters, and this is not all of them, but this is a couple of them that got asked about the tariffs again.
Okay, do you have any questions?
Mr. President, where does the TikTok deal stand, given what we've seen, the tariffs,
Well, it's
China?
moving along, but obviously I would say right now China's not exactly thrilled about signing it. We have a deal with some very good people, some very rich companies that would do a great job with it, but we're going to have to wait to see what's going to happen with China. So,
Mr. President,
no, it's on the table very much. I think China's going to want to do it, actually.
Mr. President, can you explain more of what you believe is the end game with China? Are you waiting for President Xi to blink? How do you think this is all going to be resolved?
Look, for years we've been ripped off and taken advantage of by China and others, in all fairness, but by China, that's the big one. And it's just one of those things. We're making $2 billion a day right now, this country. $2 billion a day with tariffs. And they were making $2 billion a day. We'll be making more. Now when you see what happened today, I don't know if it's still there. I looked an hour ago, but we were up like close to 3,000 points. Nobody's ever seen a day like that. I think that's a record, isn't it, fellas?
Definitely.
Is that a record? Who would have thought we were going to have a record like that after watching? But because the geniuses of the world, they get it. Our country is very strong. We were left a very, very weakened country, both economically, financially, because of all of the tariffs and all of the other companies just raiding us and ripping us off.
So that was the just an intro into questions there. Pretty insightful. Now, the one thing, of course, it's true. Obviously, America has services; they're quite valuable. They get revenue from that. But they're running a 1.2 trillion a trading deficit, 1.2 trillion trading deficit. They got a $2 trillion federal budget deficit. They got $37 trillion in debt. The US is in real trouble from there. The infrastructure is run down, despite the infrastructure bill that got put in. There was a lot of waste money in there. There was probably been about 50% of that spent, and a lot more needs to be done in the United States infrastructure. And of course, all the tech sector as well. They've been lagging behind in resources, particularly rare earths, and lagging behind in a lot of high-tech development. Even though America does lead in many tech categories, Trump is going to get dominance back across pretty much all of them. So that's kind of where we're heading here with these tariff repositions. It's only early. We're in the first 100 days, and this is laying the foundation for that golden age of America. And a bit of tough love, or as he says, the operation has happened, and now it's time for healing. And it's not going to happen straight away, but happening pretty fast here. What a massive pivot today. Absolutely outstanding move. And of course, the other deal from Donald Trump. Now, let's get set. We've talked about stock market, talk about the economic news. Obviously, we've got inflation coming up. Inflation will be coming up tomorrow. That'll be interesting to see what that does to the market. So just stay tuned on that one. That's the CPI, the Consumer Price Index. And of course, we will see how the Fed responds to that too. Well, that is coming up tomorrow, so we've got a bit of economic news there. Now let's get into what happened to crypto as a result. Well, pretty exciting. Look at that. Woo-hoo-hoo. Green. Not just green, but dark green. We love that. And of course, you guys know that maybe 30 days in the year we have the biggest moves up and the biggest moves down. And today was definitely one of those an elephant move. Let's say it was massive. So we got Bitcoin at the moment $82,388. It's up 7.4%, and the Bitcoin dominance is up at actually still up at 61.21%. Some people are thinking that it might get to 70%. I'm still not in that camp yet. 70% was where the altcoin season started in the 2021 bull market, and then it started to reverse. But it's certainly pretty strong at 61%. We've had obviously a lot of changes since then, a lot of maturity, a lot of technology developments, and a lot of more tokens in the market. So we'll see where that leads. But of course, Bitcoin has been kind of very strong relative to the altcoins at this stage, and we will probably get that reversal. The good news is Ethereum is up 12% at $656. Still pretty cheap though, isn't it? But still up pretty good today. Solana, they're up 11.69%. that is up as well. And what else we got there? We got that's up 11%. We got ADA up 12% at 63 cents. XRP up 13% at $2.03. Those are the big movers. And of course, we've also got some decent movers in Litecoin and SuChain there, up 9% for Litecoin at $75.50, and SuChain up 14.5% at $2.22. So we've got a few moves happening there amongst the majors. BNB up modest 5% at $580. And of course, that's because of the tokenomics, the way that works. And of course, it moves up and down slower relative to the others generally. And Tron there only up 3% at 24 cents. So those are kind of your leaders at the moment. Pretty awesome. We even got Litecoin. Let's talk about that. 9% up there, 75.5. I think I might have done that already, but hey, this is the way you go. So not bad, not bad. That is green, green, green. Do you like that? I could look at that for a while, right? Sit back, get a cup of tea, and enjoy the crypto market there. Pretty powerful. Let's have a look at the total market. Man, we're sitting, at about 2.5 trillion yesterday. We're at 2.72 trillion now, up 6.2% on the market. What a massive move. Fantastic. And of course, what else? We've got the top leaderboard here. Let's have a look at the top 24 hours. Well, at least the ranking at the moment based on market cap. We've got Bitcoin market cap at 1.64 trillion, and it is up 7.6%. Ethereum at number 2, up 12.4% at what's that? 200 billion. And is that right? Yeah, 200 billion. Yeah. And then we got the Tether. Let's jump past that. XRP at number 4 is up 13% at 120 billion market cap. BNB up 5% at 85 billion. Solana at number 6 is up 11.7% at 61 billion. Dogecoin at number 8 is up 11.6%, up at just under 24 billion. And Cardano there at number 9 is sitting up at 12% and 22.9 billion there. And finally, to wrap up our top 10, Tron there at number 10, up 3.4% at 22.6 billion. So there's not a lot of gap between number 10 and number 8 there. They're all around 22 to 24 billion. And then, of course, you got a big jump once you get up to Solana at 61. So that's kind of where we are. Looking at the top gainers, looks like we've got Ardor and Fartcoin and Vine all up 45 to 60%. And trending at the moment, we've got Notcoin, Ahima, and Saris there at the moment. Now, in terms of the top performer in the top 100, looks like Flare is the top performer, up 29.8%. Sonic up 23%. And Hyperliquid there is up number 3, up 15%. Those are the top ones there. Oh, we've even got some pretty well-known names. Render up 18%, and Ondo as well, up 22%. In terms of the last week, the dominator is OKEP, up 14% in the top 100. Flare, number 2 at 14%, and Hyperliquid there at number 3, up 13% as well. So those are some of the ones that have been doing particularly well in the top 100. Of course, there is 17,000 coins listed here on CoinGecko. That is kind of the mark. Let's get into the charts here and have a look at that. So this is our Bitcoin chart. We've been following pretty faithfully, and this is this orange zone. You guys know what it is. The circle of volatility. Is that what I call it? Yeah, I think so. The circle of volatility. I mean, it is a circle, so I mean, it's not not rocket science or anything. But it's truly been playing out, right? It's truly been playing out there with this, and of course we can enlarge that because that's how much volatility, the parameters of volatility that we've got there. Do you like that? That's pretty. Anyway, enough jokes there, but that is kind of where we are on this chart, and pretty crazy, right? Pretty crazy. Let's hide that up so you can see. But we've pretty much got, we moved past the country specific tariffs, and we are trying to avoid this death cross, right? And I said we need a big green candle. Yesterday I said that and said we got a big green candle. Boy, was it big. And here we are at the moment. We've got 200 day at 85,000. We've got the 50 day at 85,840. And of course, everybody can see this chart, right? Everybody, all the market makers, all the manipulators, all the crypto people, they can all see this chart, and they know what's happening here. And it's funny that Trump pivots as well. You can imagine what it's like in the cabinet room, right? Now what we're going to do, this is our next move, kind of thing, which they probably would have talked about to some degree anyway. And then, of course, Trump comes out with the big news there. Now, we're going to hopefully try to avoid this, getting pretty close, though. Even if we do cross it, it could be very brief. But that's kind of where we are at the moment. And, of course, there is the circle of volatility playing out as we expected. And, of course, tomorrow we've got, the inflation news coming out tomorrow. So we'll see what that goes to on a Thursday US time. And then, of course, we've still got Friday after that leading into the weekend. So let's see whether we can continue a rally, multi-day rally here as well. All right, so that is where we are for Bitcoin. Moving into the yield, I think we're actually in the green. Yesterday we were in the negative, remember, for the third month in a row, and we are actually in the positives, 0.86% on April. So bring it on. Let's see if we can march April out despite volatility, up and downs. Let's see if we can get a green candle there. We've still got, 20, 21 days to go for April, so a long way there. And bring on Q2 rally. We're going to get a rally. Now, you guys know that they've got to have a lot of the stuff sorted by May, June, because they need a lot of the country negotiations to all be sealed up. They need to have the taxes going through, has to be done through Congress and Senate by June. July the 4th is kind of the latest, but it's kind of May, June. So we know all this from listening to the cabinet members, and this is kind of the Goldilocks zone for Trump, laying the foundation for the golden age. So he's got all the way from January all the way through to June to lay the foundations for the golden age of America. So that's pretty much 6 months. He's got to get it in place. That is his timeline. And so then after that, that's just probably gold after that as the things get better. Now, obviously, buildings don't get built in 2 months sometimes, depending what they are, but he's really laying the foundation there and removing a lot of the obstacles to rapid development. So whatever you might think is development time in the United States, if it was 3 years, he's going to try and do it in 1 year, that sort of thing, right? If it was 18 months, he's going to try and do it in 12 months or something like that. This is kind of the logic that we're going to be looking at. And of course, in that cabinet meeting that he had today, he talked about, he said to them, we want to build ships, we want to build ports. I mean, he said we used to build a ship a day, and now we hardly build a ship a year, kind of thing. I mean, it's an exaggeration, but he's making a point, the fact that we can do a lot. We can do a lot, right? So that's just the way he speaks, right? We can do a lot, and we can close that gap. And of course, China is producing heaps, right? China is producing a lot of ships. Now, that a lot of them aren't as advanced as the United States, obviously, but it's really about getting that manufacturing up there for military, but also commercial, right? Also commercial use there. Obviously, he's been talking about the icebreakers. I think there's like 40, 50 icebreakers that he's got, and people wanting to use those, like Canada, as they move into Greenland, right? So lots of things happening around the world. It's going to be pretty crazy to see all play out. All right, let's jump into some other good news. So this was great news. Well, the other good news was the Justice Department, all under President Trump there, will disband its team focused on crypto crimes. So this is bullish news, as you can see. Hopefully that's a bit bigger there. And this is really bullish news. So got to be happy with that. And we can see at the moment the Justice Department is disbanding a team of prosecutors who targeted cryptocurrency crimes and is shifting its focus away from complex crypto-related cases involving banking and securities law. And, of course, that is from the AP. The Department of Justice is not a digital asset regulator, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche said in a memo sent to prosecutors Monday. And, of course, that's exciting to see. It's the latest move by the Trump administration to try and boost the cryptocurrency industry while undoing the Biden administration's effort to crack down on wrongdoers in the industry. Trump admin's effort has included the similar shift in crypto-related enforcement priorities at the SEC. Blanche's memo is part of a larger move by the Justice Department to step back from certain white-collar enforcement to align with Donald Trump's priorities, tackling illegal immigration, gangs, and drugs crimes. Who would have thought that is the way to go? Who would have thought? Anyway, Blanche said that Biden administration had used the department to pursue a reckless strategy of regulation by prosecution, which was ill-conceived and poorly executed. And, of course, Blanche said that they are focused on pretty much, the real crimes, drug trafficking and human trafficking and all the other terrorism and things like that. The crypto industry was spent heavily to help Trump win the election, has long complained about the Biden unfairly targeted them. And we know all about that, and particularly, criminal prosecutions like developers for Tornado Cash. And, of course, that's been freed up too. We saw Richard Hart talk about that. We should be going after the bad guys, not the developers of good tools that bad guys happen to use. I agree with that. That is true. It's the old thing like saying, crypto has fraud. Well, so does fiat, right? Fiat has fraud as well. It's a bad argument, right? And so, you just put in similar regulations, I guess. Explicit goal of targeting exchanges, mixers, and others. That was the National Crypto Enforcement Team, and it was during Joe Biden. And, of course, that are enabling the misuse of cryptocurrency-related technologies to commit or facilitate criminal activity. Blanche said those kinds of entities will no longer be targeted for the acts of their end users or unwitting violations of regulations So pretty awesome there. He also said the market integrity and major fraud unit will cease cryptocurrency enforcement in order to focus on other priorities such as immigration and procurement fraud. Once a crypto skeptic, Trump, a Republican, of course, and his sons are big into crypto now, which is pretty exciting. So good news all around, eh? Good news all around. I hope you guys enjoy that. That was pretty awesome. So let's get into Pulse Chain, because Pulse Chain is up as well. Woo! Day 699. Woo! We're almost at 700. We're almost at 700 days. And of course, this is 13th of May, 2023. Pulse Chain launched, forked on the 10th of May of that year, and man, look at it now. It is ready for the pudding. Ready for the pudding. It is it's had its capitulation events. What's that? About like 20 black swan events, 10 gray swan events. I mean, this thing has been through the ringer. You know that anything that goes through the ringer and still survives is going to do something magnificent. So just remember that. You can quote me on that one. Quote Suitman. Anything that goes through the ringer like Pulse Chain has and still standing is likely to do something amazing in the future. And of course, we're not just talking about the magic carpet ride. But we're talking about just the community and, of course, many of the things that are coming up in the community as well. So it's pretty important to dig into some of those. So I'm actually going to bring up something I wasn't going to bring up. So should we do that? Let me do that. Let me pull up let me find what I'm trying to find first here as well. We're going to go to Kryptonite. I definitely got to join up to that. Follow me on Kryptonite. But I pushed out a post yesterday, and let me just go check that post. So let me just jump through some of this here. This one here. So this is the post that I'm going to talk about, and it's pretty cool. So let's get into that and zoom in on that. So I talked about this yesterday, and that was, let me just scroll that down a bit. We're in the wrong position. Actually, I might change position here, and let's go back.
Okay, do you have any questions?
Mr. President.
All right, so we're going to go back to that. Sorry about the technical hiccup there. But this is a post I put out. Said everyone is excited about Richard Hart's open comments on his X posts, recent bullish moves on Pulse Chain. Reply and post your comments and insights in the list below. Now, of course, we talked about the launch of pump tires being very successful. In fact, I'm doing a video on that coming up very shortly. We got incentive tokens inflation cut 20x. So in ink now is only 0.03 ink per second, or 2,600 ink per day. So very, very low. You got to remember the inflation is sitting about 55 million at the moment. That's the baseline. So very low inflation now. Cut that really thin. Now the impact of lowering the PulseX incentive token, remember it's a dual token system with PulseX and ink token, has meant that liquidity has gone down by hundreds of millions, meaning it's very thin liquidity pools, and therefore Hart's law can play out, right? So you can move it up very, very quick. And of course, because it's in generally PulseX V2 pools on PulseX, you will be able to pump that at a square, right? So it's going to go up faster and faster. The more people buy, goes up faster and faster. And this obviously the same thing happens on the reverse, and we saw that recently with Pulse Chain's capitulation events following MakerDAO, Exploit, and Atropa, and all those other different things dragging it down. And obviously, a Rabby wallet and the bank, the bank and all that sort of stuff. So thinner liquidity pump Mendel's Hart's law, game on. And of course, the PulseX Master Chief contract has an interesting comment in it, right? So it has the ownership will be transferred to a governance smart contract once ink is sufficiently distributed and the community can show to govern itself. So that's pretty interesting. We're going to see what that actually means, but it's definitely a pretty distribution now. And if you cut the inflation, is that indicating that we're going to see something soon with the PulseX Master Chief? I think it does. So we're going to keep a lookout for that, and especially the fact that Richard Hart has his comments open again. He's sort of slowly opening up. He's commenting a lot more on X, of course. This could be all heading in the right direction. In addition to ink token being cut, we also saw hex inflation cut by the OASAC, and of course on both chains, Ethereum and Pulse Chain, and the T-share payout cut from about 7.5 hex per T-share down to 1.6 hex per T-share, of course, with the rest of the inflation being eaten up by the OASAC wallets. So it's going to be pretty interesting there. And of course, obviously, Richard Hart defeated the SEC. There is obviously an extension by the 21st of April, but the case is so weak. And of course, we just saw with some of the awesome news there coming out from the U.S. Justice Department that they are pulling back from all this stuff on attack there. So pretty exciting to see that. And of course, capitulation events before more glory. Definitely feels like that. Definitely looks like that. And of course, capitulation events before more glory. And of course, eventually, once the crypto market rallies and Ethereum gets back up, we could see the Magic Carp ride come into play as well. So it's going to be pretty exciting to see where we head from here. So I thought that was really well worth covering there. If you haven't joined up to that, you want to leave a comment. We've got no comments in there at the moment, but definitely get a comment in there, and I'll post that link as well and share it around. So we get some people's opinions on that. And many of you have been around the Pulse Chain for a long time and may have opinions on that. So get them in there as well. All right, so that is the post there. I've just put that in the chat there. Maybe the mods can put it over on Rumble and on X as well. That'd be great. Thank you very much. All right, so that is the link there, and looking pretty good. So let's, even Richard's got the thumbs up there. He's got the thumbs up there that I put. How about that? All right, so the results at the moment, Pulse Chain up 12.2% at quadruple 0234. We've got Pulse X at up 13.7% at quadruple 0202. We're instinctive token, which we just talked about. Remember that it's only inflation's been cut dramatically, is at $1.20, up 14.6%. The ratio to Pulse is sitting at 51,440, looking pretty good there. And of course, the supply there sitting around 55 million. And I still have to get to check that on the blockchain because I keep forgetting to do it. But Hex at the moment up 17%. And I said Hex looks like such a steal, didn't I? The last couple of days, man, it does. 55 hundredth of a penny there, and up 70%. Not bad. EHEX is up at 15%, 15 hundredth of a penny. Combined price EHEX and PX is just below 7/10 of a penny. Still a masterful entry for Hex, in my opinion, there, especially after the inflation cut. Liquidity pools shrink, and of course, we could get massive pump metals in the future. And who knows what the orchestra could orchestrate, I should say, could too as well. Now moving over to gas prices, have we got cheap? Yeah, 2 million beats, man. That's cheapest strips over on Pulse Chain right now. 2 cents for a Pulse X swap, not bad. It's cheapest strips. Time to do business. Value there is at almost 49,000, and of course, if you can get 32 million Pulse for super cheap right now, you got to get in there, right? What, $600 or something, $650, something like that, maybe $700. So definitely check that out. And I'm going to do a whole video on that because there's so many products now around staking Pulse and Hex and earning tokens and doing validating and stuff like that. We'll probably do a video on that too. Now, finally, the bridge. This is our health check, right? The bridge, our health check. Well, we're a lot healthier today. I think we were down at 77 million yesterday, 77.6 if I remember rightly. We're up at 80.9. So that's pretty cool. Whew. So we're up, over $3 million by my count. So pretty awesome. So over $3 million, 3.2 million increase there today. Very cool. DAI has not really changed much, 23.2. I think USDC is pretty similar. Tether pretty similar. So obviously we're getting the big pump on ETH and the big pump on Bitcoin and the big pump on EHEX there. And look, Coast, man. Coast is sneaking up on us. It's sneaking up 9.4 million. Remember, this is what our stable coin that's backed by fiat currency. And it's slowly creeping up there. Let's see if that can run away at some stage. And I know they targeted 50 million. And of course, let's see if they can slowly get up there. Definitely targeting 10 million is the next one there. Now, obviously, we've got a number of stable coins on Pulse Chain all contributing as well. Those should increase as well. So the more confidence it gets into Pulse Chain, the more valuable it gets back on an uptrend, the more that's going to go into these stable coins, right? People are going to get into that basic leverage, and this should all go up too, which is pretty cool. We're currently sitting at about $6.5 million in the main liquidity forks here, excluding Inkprint or Print Ink, that one there. And then we've got 9.4 million in Coast here at the moment. And finally, we're waiting for PUSD ALGO, the ultimate algorithmic stablecoin coming from Jacob. And of course, what have we got news about that? Well, we've got Signum Oracle going to be launching tomorrow as well, as I understand it, with Tetra on the 11th of April. So that's not tomorrow my time because we're 11th tomorrow, but in 2 days. So pretty excited about that. US time 11th. So that's going to be pretty cool within the next 48 hours, I guess. And we could have that once Signum Oracle is out. If it runs as expected, Jacob's going to give us an update on PUSD ALGO, which he promised and boldly proclaimed back on the 17th of January. And we're excited because we love his stuff. So bring it on. I think it's his flagship product is PUSD ALGO, so it's going to be cool. All right, so very, very exciting there. And of course, the rest of the volumes, $32.7 million is on the volumes at the moment on Pulse Chain. And the top performers, look at this. Woo! Gas money. Show me the money. Money, money, money. Money. All right, that's enough for the sing. But we got gas money running there. Now, if you guys haven't got into our alpha list, you've really got to get into it. because this is on the list, right? We've got a lot of these winners are on our list. So Alpha List is for free. The Alpha List. Well, it's free. So get in there and join our Telegram and share it around. It's free. And we're going to have a lot of other things happening in the Telegram moving forwards. You want to get on us. We're on the ground growing early, right? So get in there and become part of our community and contribute. Contribute. It's you guys can do lots of cool things. So get in there and become part of the family, as it were. Become part of the family. Very, very exciting. All right, let's see what other comments we've got in the chat here before we move on. I think we've got up to all those. European Union wanting to make deals. Absolutely, Brennan. Yeah, that's absolutely right. All right, so let's get into it. Let's go. We got Impulse here is up 49%. We got Maker is up 48%. This is the $9.86. So you can't keep PDI Maker. Now, PDI Maker, of course, won the poll that I had yesterday. In fact, let's go into that, actually. We got the poll results. I've got another poll coming out. So we're going to be talking about that shortly. Well, let's get into that poll that I just finished. So we've got a new poll. MVS has got a new poll out here. OG, Heart, Dark Horse, and Incognito. So definitely give that a vote. That's for sure. And if you want to vote on that, I'll post that link in the chat as well for those projects. And they're up and comers. So definitely check out some of those. And bam. All right. So those are some of the up and comer polls there. So for OG, Heart, Dark Horse, and Incognito. So check them out. And then, pulse chain trends. So if investor wins the printer open community poll there. So congratulations to them. And let's see there. So if investor there got 58% of the votes, there were 1,846 views with 300 votes more or less. And PDC there got 34.4%. Now, these are really large teams, right? These are really large. So if investors got a whole ton of tokens in there, right? Printer tokens. PDC's been around, obviously the grandfather of all this, with a real investment vehicle there. And of course, Prairie's doing a great job there, educating people around there. And then, of course, we've got Kairos here with this masterful tokenomics for the best farm on Pulse Chain right now with super yields. But he's really set it up for the sustainable long run. So really liking what Kairos is doing there. And, of course, a big shout out to him. 7.7% here on the farm. Pretty epic there. Great stuff there. So this was a cross-category poll. In other words, from different categories, and they all won their previous polls, and they all ended up jumping into this cross-category poll. And who was the most active community? Well, obviously, investors pretty big there, so they got number one. So pretty awesome votes there. Big shout out to everybody that voted. Pretty exciting. Now, we also had another vote that we had on, which is pretty cool. And MV's been running some really good polls as well, previous polls there too. So let's just jump down here. I think I've got it down here. I'm just going to have a quick look for that. So as you can see in the thread there, I've been posting quite a few of the latest things that are happening. I'm just scrolling down here. I can't actually see the poll actually. Where's the poll gone? Here it is here. So we had a poll here with the launch of Good Die by Maddie today, which is the best token on Pulse Chain now. Now, I didn't have what they call Pump Die. So Pump Die is from the Pump Tires. I didn't have that in here. I just focused on the Fork Die and Maddie Good Die because there's a bit of back and forth going between like Somi and Maddie and people like that. So I had to put that in. But anyway, the vote ended up being 87% for Fork Die, and Maddie's Good Die got 13%. Now, the one difference is that Fork Die community, there's about 700,000 people in Telegram, and Maddie's got about 2,400, but his is not a Telegram chat, it's a channel. So really, it's just a new broadcasting. So I think he probably should, if you're out there, Maddie, and you should probably get yourself an open chat and build that up because, having engagement is very, very key there. But a big shout out there. Now, as you guys know, I try to keep neutral positions on a lot of projects. So it's up to you to decide whether you like something or not like something. In this case, of course, with the massive community, Fork PDI has won out the day. Now, I'm not saying whether a particular project is good or not. It's up to you to decide. But those is the poll. So really, really, really exciting. Big communities, big influences. We're going to see where they go from here. And, of course, PDI to $1. PDI to $1. That's the thing, right? And, of course, we had some big information coming out from Iron Capital as well around some linkages there. So we might get into that in a bit, another topic also. Maybe we might do a specialized PDI show. Not necessarily to promote it, but we talked about it, the pros and cons, as we try to stay neutral on the channel. Now, sometimes the evidence goes against, and sometimes it goes for. It really is a ship in the storm, but we'll see where it all lands in the future as well. But like I say, I try to focus on projects that are probably going to be successful as opposed to possibly be successful, and I think that's where a lot of people should be looking for value as well, until that sort of firms up, until the possible becomes the probable. Let's put it that way. All right, that forever flop auction that people are waiting for, the forever flop auction, let's just say. All right, so that's kind of where we are there on that one. Now, obviously, some other tokens are doing pretty well. Time Dividend into Matt Money's wallet up 33%. Big shout out to KG there. We've got ADA also up 37% there. That's been around as a pump tires as well. Doubt Tires is a pump tires that's up 31%. We've got BBC, that token there from the 9-inch exchange, that's up 30%. That's actually been had a nice little rally recently, I think. Yeah, look at that rally there on the old BBC. And that's the hourly chart. So let's go to the daily. Yeah, look at that run. Look at that run. Man, that's been a pretty good run. This is the incentive token version for 9-inch, right? Which is one of our biggest exchanges. It might be number 2 at the moment. Up 173% in 10 days. So, so you can make money on Pulse Chain. If someone tells you don't, just because Pulse went down violently, there's always capitulation events in the markets. Here we are back up. 9-inch there, sitting at number 3 on the top DIX, excluding, of course, the Famous platform. I wish they put Famous up there, actually. It would be quite nice. But we've got, what else we got going? We got X token there, another project up 27%. Beast token, one of the top printer tokens there, actually crushing it, up to 26%. Firewhales token, obviously this is a pump tires. This is up 23% there. Love, another pump tires there, is up 22%. Fresh data there, another project there. It's got its own specific sort of a meme coin thing, I think, from memory. I think it was a print token, possibly. Yeah, I think it is a print token. 22%. UFO there is the child of PGC. That's up 22%. And Firewhale there, another one there. Now, obviously, Firewhale. These are all part of the X game that's coming up. We're going to be covering that in detail. Now, big shout out to the Most Wanted team. They are pretty awesome, and I'm going to probably do quite a bit of coverage on them. Definitely a top contender for top pump tires there. Most Wanted, of course, about Richard Hart and the Red Notice. Of course, the Interpol is after Richard Hart there, and there has been a few developments about that. I'm going to talk about that too. But that is up 19% at the moment. So keep a lookout for Most Wanted, folks, because we're going to be talking about that too. Pretty exciting. So you can see a lot of double-digit gains. Obviously, Hex is up. Pump tires, the main token, or at least the official name token for pump tires, is up 17%. So there's a lot going on the old Pulse Chain to make some money there. And you can see the categories, right? Richard Hart tokens, printer tokens, pump tokens, big whale game tokens. These are the ones that are really pumping at the moment, and you can see them all dominating the top list there on Pulse Chain. So there we go. That was some free alpha, and of course 9-inch, one of the DEX is doing pretty well also. So pretty crazy, right? And also Internet Money as well, doing pretty well. And Liquid Loans looks like it's making a little bit of a move. So lots of cool things happening there on the old Pulse Chain. So we're 53 minutes on the hour. We've got a great bunch of people watching, about somewhere between 40, 50 people watching at the moment. So big shout out to everybody. And let's get into Titan X. We didn't cover Titan X yesterday because it was pretty flat on the market. But because of ETH rally, it is up today. And we can see Titan X up 18%. Woohoo! Dragon X holders, man, your ratio is pumped. 8.5. You're up 30%. Let's have a look at the chart, because that's what we're going to do. Remember, the buy and burns are all turned off still, so these things are going to do some pretty insane things once they start running, and that is the tip of the day. That's the tip of the day. So this is the price here on DragonX, but we're not interested in the price as much. It definitely has gone up a lot. It's gone up from 6 zeros, 8,300 to 5 zeros. So it's lost a zero, folks. It's now at 5 zeros, 1093. So 1093. Nice little pump there. Is the bottom in? Feels like it, but it's going to be volatile. We know we've still got volatility coming up there. This is the ratio. This is the one we're really looking at. What's the ratio of Dragon X to Titan X? And look at this thing go. Woohoo! It broke out today. Look at that thing. We knew it was creeping up, right? We already knew that because we'd seen it creeping up. But today it had enough news with this Trump tariffs thing that it is up big time, up 39% at the moment. But keep a lookout for this. This could really start running away on you. It's currently at 8.15. And it went all the way today to 8.86, currently in the middle there at 8.55, a brand new candle too on the daily there. that is pretty awesome. I'm excited about what they're going to bring. Now, also, Eric is development team is the one that's developing the X game crash game coming to Pulse Chain. It's going to have a 30% referral bonus to people that send referral out. So we'll definitely be coming that protocol because it's going to be pretty alpha. And that's from Firewall, right? Organizing that. Now, some other ones doing pretty well. Shogun up 22%. The big movers, Hyper up 90%, and Hydra there up 47%, making a big move. Now, Hydra was up even more earlier today, but that is looking pretty good there. Helios there from the dude. Big shout out to him, up 55% on that at the moment on Helios. The ratio at 1.26 Titanex. And everything up, doing pretty well, right? And Therno up 34%, Morpheus up 32% from Brandon, 26% on Phoenix, 40% on Baby Dragon X. That's going to base chain, remember, and 29% on Scale. Man, some really good moves there. Blaze, the only one there in the red at the moment. The Tink Farm up 29%, and at 2 cents is the Tink Farm token. And of course, Oryx, the Ouroboros, the big liquidy fork for the Titanex is up 54%. Woohoo! A big shout out to Super Shadowy over there, doing a masterful job with that launch, especially in difficult conditions. That is an outstanding launch there as well. Textbook, as we say. Stacks is up 21%. Ascendance is up 29%. Uranus up 16%. Now, Uranus, of course, is the first project on base chain. It's the first omni-chain project, and it's been performing, I think, very well, particularly in difficult times. Been around for 2 months now. And the ratio is sitting at 1.94. So that has been a real winner, and I covered that one. That has been a winner chicken dinner. So congratulations if you got into that. Flare was booming yesterday, down a little bit today, and its little children there, B88 and S88, I think down up slightly there. Let's have a look at some of the ones coming up. Obviously, we're expecting Bitcoin Genie to come up there from the mad scientist Stevie D. That is expected probably about 4 to 6 weeks from now, is my guess, going through testing and audits. And then Tariffs is coming out. We saw an update there from Cryptographics, right? So let's see if we can bring that up. We had a little update there from Cryptographics, and he had an update. So let me see here. I've got it on the wrong browser, for goodness sake. But he's basically said, things are coming along there. So we're going to cover that separately. I think there's far too much stuff in there, so I'm going to have to cover that on a separate video. But that's kind of where we are with Titanex. So it's turning, folks. And let's finally look at the master itself, Titanex, because it is sitting at 10.0776. And, if you got to be not emotional, not attached, and think about what the chart looks like. And is there an opportunity for you, right? That's kind of the way you got to think about it. Remember, all the buy and burns are turned off. So there's tons of money there sitting there waiting. And, of course, omni-chain strategy is going to be rolled out too. So, obviously, Jake Sharp's been building for the last 2.5 to 3 months. So that's coming as well. Now, obviously, the first wave was pretty awesome, 10x, and then, of course, it all came almost all the way down here based on the wrapped ETH ratio, right? So this one, I'm not looking at the US dollar price, this wrapped ETH, and we can see that we've got quite a bit of a bounce here, but we're not out of the woods, right? But our next target, you want to beat this line here, 10.9,300, right? We're at 10.7,700, and we've got to beat out that 10.91 and basically really lose a zero, right, and start moving ahead, just like we saw with Dragon X. So that's kind of where we are there. Obviously, buy low, sell high, right? That's the chart's saying, buy low, sell high. And, of course, with the buy and burn backing like 95%, it's just a no-brainer, especially with the Omni-chain there as well. X28, the ratio is at 0.74, really discounted. And, of course, we're probably going to want to see that reverse at some stage as well. That is the Omni-chain version of Titanex. So that is pretty much it on the mark. And that is pretty much our show. We did it all within an hour, which is pretty amazing. Because yesterday, what did we do? An hour and a half? It was a crazy time. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. If you're new to Rumble, don't forget to hit the follow button. And, of course, get more great politics, crypto coverage, economic coverage. We kind of do it all. And get in there, folks. That's all we can say. The links to Discord are in the video description. And the chat there, if you want to join Telegram, hit the chat there. We've got the Telegram link there. And you'll get the free alpha list as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Your host, Superman, in the house, enjoying this massive record day on the stock market and crypto. And thanks very much to Donald Trump of the art of the deal. It is all playing out there. And, of course, the mainstream media and all the libtards, they have no idea what they're doing. All they can do is say everything's going to fail, just like they made the world fail. But we've got the champion now on the deck, and he's reorganizing the world for the golden era. And that's a great place to finish. Hope you guys enjoy it. I'll see you in the Discord and in Telegram. Take care and have a great day, a green day here in crypto. All right, bye for now. See ya.